There's a drive, deep right center field.
Welcome back to Rare Game Room Gaming. And today we're talking about a baseball game that changed sports gaming forever on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Before realistic graphics, before commentary teams, before online leagues, there was one baseball title that made players feel like they were watching real Major League Baseball on their television sets. And here's the wild part. This game was so ahead of its time that many people still consider it one of the greatest baseball games ever made, even decades later. We're talking about R.B.I. Baseball on the original Nintendo. At a time when most sports games still felt stiff, slow, and arcade-like, R.B.I. Baseball came out swinging with real MLB players, smooth gameplay, and an atmosphere that made it feel different from almost everything else on the system. And what happened behind the scenes with licensing, the arcade version, and how this game almost accidentally changed sports gaming history might surprise a lot of people. If you enjoy retro gaming documentaries like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let us know down in the comments if you grew up playing R.B.I. Baseball on the original Nintendo. To really understand why R.B.I. Baseball became such a legendary title, we have to go back to the mid-1980s when baseball video games were still trying to figure themselves out. Most sports games during that era focused on basic gameplay and exaggerated arcade action. There were baseball games before R.B.I. Baseball, but many of them lacked realism, licensing, or the feeling of actually watching professional baseball. The game actually began in Japan with a title called Pro Yaku Family Stadium, developed by Namco for the Family Computer, better known outside Japan as the original Nintendo. In Japan, the game was a massive success because it balanced simple controls with surprisingly deep gameplay. Instead of trying to overcomplicate baseball mechanics, it focused on making the experience fast, fun, and addictive. But something huge happened when the game made its way to North America. Tengen, which was a division of Atari Games, acquired the rights to publish the game in the United States. Rather than simply translating the Japanese version, they transformed it into something revolutionary for the Western market. They secured a licensing deal with the Major League Baseball Players Association. That meant real player names could finally appear in the game. This may not sound groundbreaking today, but at the time, this was enormous. Most sports games either used fake names or no names at all because licensing agreements were expensive and difficult to secure. What made this even stranger is that R.B.I. Baseball featured real players, but not official MLB team logos or city names due to licensing limitations. So, players would see stars like Don Mattingly, Roger Clemens, and Jose Canseco, but the presentation around them was still somewhat unofficial. Even with those limitations, it felt incredibly authentic for the era. And once gamers got their hands on it, they realized this wasn't just another baseball game. This thing felt alive. The roots of R.B.I. Baseball trace back to some incredibly talented developers at Namco. During the 1980s, Namco was one of the most respected gaming companies in the world. This was the same company responsible for arcade giants like Pac-Man, Galaga, and Xevious. Namco had already proven they understood how to make games feel smooth and responsive, and that experience translated perfectly into sports gaming. Family Stadium became one of Japan's biggest baseball franchises long before most Western players even knew it existed. Meanwhile, Tengen was becoming known for pushing boundaries on the original Nintendo. Tengen itself became controversial because of its battles with Nintendo over licensing restrictions. Tengen wanted more freedom than Nintendo's strict publishing policies allowed, and the company eventually became known for producing those distinctive black cartridges on the original Nintendo. And honestly, R.B.I. Baseball looked cool sitting on store shelves because of that black cartridge alone. It instantly stood out next to the standard gray cartridges that most original Nintendo owners were used to seeing. Tengen also developed a reputation for bringing arcade-quality experiences home. Games like Gauntlet and hard driving showed they were willing to take technical risks. And RBI Baseball became one of their biggest success stories. But the biggest genius behind RBI Baseball may have been understanding that sports games didn't need to be ultra-realistic to feel authentic. They needed to feel good to play, and RBI Baseball absolutely nailed that balance. The moment players started a game of RBI Baseball, they noticed something different immediately. The controls were simple enough for almost anyone to understand, but underneath that simplicity was an incredibly polished baseball experience. Pitching felt fast and strategic. Batting felt powerful and satisfying. Fielding moved smoothly compared to many other sports games of the era. And perhaps most importantly, games moved at a quick pace. RBI. Baseball avoided the sluggishness that hurt many early sports titles. One of the most memorable things about the game was the hitting. Home runs felt dramatic. The crack of the bat, the camera movement, and watching the ball soar over the outfield fence created moments that players still remember decades later. The game also featured statistical differences between players. Power hitters actually felt dangerous. Faster players felt quicker on the base paths. Pitchers had different strengths. This gave the game a level of strategy that many console sports games simply didn't have yet. And then there were those legendary overpowered teams. Anyone who played RBI Baseball probably remembers how dominant certain lineups could be. Teams packed with sluggers could absolutely destroy opponents if the player controlling them knew what they were doing. There was also a surprising level of tension during close games. Because the controls were so responsive, every pitch and swing mattered. Even today, when people revisit the game, they're often shocked by how well it still plays. And what happened next in sports gaming history is fascinating, because RBI Baseball quietly started influencing the future of the entire genre. One of the interesting things about RBI Baseball is that most people mainly remember the original Nintendo version, and honestly, that's because this is the version that became iconic. While the game did appear in arcades, it wasn't a completely separate arcade title built from the ground up. Instead, RBI Baseball was released through the Nintendo VS, system arcade cabinets. These machines were designed to bring original Nintendo-style experiences into arcades, meaning players were essentially playing an arcade adaptation of the home console version. That was pretty unusual during the late 1980s because arcade games normally looked far more advanced than console games. RBI Baseball helped blur that line and showed just how strong the gameplay really was. As the series became more successful, later RBI Baseball sequels would eventually release on additional hardware like the Sega Genesis and other consoles during the early 1990s. But for many retro gamers, the original Nintendo release is still considered the definitive version of RBI Baseball. RBI Baseball quickly became one of the defining baseball franchises of the late 1980s and early 1990s, leading to sequels like RBI Baseball 2 and RBI Baseball 3. Each entry expanded on the formula with updated rosters and gameplay improvements, helping keep the series popular during the growing sports gaming boom. But the original game's biggest legacy was showing the industry that baseball games could feel fast, authentic, and fun, while still using real professional players. In many ways, RBI Baseball helped lay the groundwork for later classics like Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball and modern baseball simulations like MLB The Show.
Sweeper. Low inside.
Judge rips that one. And there's two away. Here's Cody Bellinger.
Even today, many retro gamers still go back to the original Nintendo version because the gameplay remains simple, addictive, and surprisingly timeless.
When you really want to get into the game, get Tengen RBI Baseball.
The only video game licensed by the Major League Baseball Players Association for your Nintendo.
It's you and the pros for Roger Clemens here. Flash Vince Coleman the steal sign.
Let Gibson swing for the fences. It's going, go!
RBI Baseball, the one the pros pitch.
RBI Baseball became a major success, both critically and commercially. Critics praised the smooth gameplay, realism, and player licensing, while gamers appreciated how easy it was to pick up and play. At a time when sports games were often considered repetitive or shallow, RBI Baseball earned respect because it actually felt polished. Magazines from the era frequently highlighted its gameplay speed and authenticity. The game also benefited from baseball's popularity during the late 1980s. Major League Baseball was booming with stars like Wade Boggs, Kirby Puckett, Mark McGwire, and Bo Jackson becoming household names. For many kids, RBI Baseball became a gateway into baseball fandom itself. And unlike some retro sports games that feel dated today, RBI Baseball remained playable long after newer hardware arrived. That's one reason collectors and retro gamers still revisit it regularly. Interestingly, many fans still debate which version in the series is the best. Some swear by the original. Others prefer later sequels for their expanded features. And honestly, that debate still sparks arguments in retro gaming circles today. When compared to other baseball games from the late 1980s, RBI Baseball stood out because of how fast and smooth it felt. Games like Bases Loaded focus more on presentation and realism. While RBI Baseball leaned into quick gameplay that was easy to pick up, but still competitive. Compared to Baseball Stars, which became known for its deeper team management and customization, RBI Baseball focused more on recreating the excitement of professional baseball with real players and arcade-style action. And even compared to modern titles like MLB The Show,
Really one of the things that leads guys to be converted from starter to reliever.
Yeah, and it's such a short stint when you compare the two roles, starting and relieving. You hope that guy could find strike one right away.
there's still something timeless about RBI Baseball. It may not have realistic graphics or commentary, but the gameplay remains fun, simple, and addictive even today. RBI Baseball on the original Nintendo helped change sports gaming forever. With real Major League Baseball players, fast gameplay, and an addictive arcade feel, it became one of the most memorable baseball games of its era. Let us know down in the comments if you grew up playing RBI Baseball and what team you used the most. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Channel memberships are also available starting at just 99 cents, where you can get early access to videos and exclusive shorts. And don't forget to press the hype button near the like button to help support and boost the video. Click on one of the videos on the screen to keep watching, or click the profile picture to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.